You are listening to the Thinking Effect podcast with Orshel Green and Lillian Kriegler. Everything starts with a thought. Join the quest to reshape your own and your students' thinking by exploring your usual curriculum in new and exciting ways.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 on the Thinking Effect podcast. And this episode is all about how can we help children understand different perspectives. But before we dive into it, hello, Lillian, how are you?
I'm really good, Orshel. How are you going today?
I'm excellent, thank you. I'm really excited about our topic today, especially after seeing what's happening in the world in the last couple of years and the polarization that happened in society and how even families are breaking apart because they struggle to look at things from different perspectives.
That's correct. I mean, the more we have that ability to understand someone else's point of view, the more empathetic we can be and the more understanding, and we can be better thinkers, really.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for me, I think the most important thing, the first step to do is understanding that our opinion, or in my case, my opinion, is just my opinion, and it's not the right opinion. Necessarily. Yes. There are many different opinions and there are no right and wrong opinion, because I think once we start tagging point of views as right one and wrong one, this is where the problem starts, because we're closing ourselves to understanding other perspective and looking at a scenario or a topic from where someone else is looking at.
Yes, that's correct. That's quite correct. You know, seeing something from exactly one point of view is very limiting, and we're wanting to broaden that. And it's, as you say, it's about in society, it's in our conversation with friends, but it also operates in the classroom. You know, if the students have different perspectives, then they can approach problems from different perspectives and in different ways. So it definitely broadens.
Yeah, absolutely. And it helps in many different ways. And since you mentioned classroom and student behavior, if we think about the courtyard, recess, a lunch break, even there, if children are able to take different perspective, then they're less likely to have argument, and sometimes very heated arguments with other students, which might lead even to physical engagement.
That's right. So having the ability to rationalize, to reason about things, to be in someone else's shoes, we can all benefit from doing that.
Yeah, and it's important to know that people's perspective depend on many things. So it depends on your gender, your culture, your religion, your upbringing, on so many things, your life experience. And when we try to understand someone else's perspective, we need to really put ourselves in that person's position, think about their beliefs, what's guiding their life, their thinking, and try to look at that situation from how they would see it. And that, as you said, helps us develop empathy towards that person, but also help us understand their perspective and develop a better understanding of the topic as a whole, because once we can see something from different angles, our understanding is much deeper. And if we're thinking about the classroom and literacy, for example, when children are reading different texts, when they're able to look at that text from the different character point of views, their understanding of that text is much deeper.
Yes, so they learn to reflect on how a character's actions might fit with their perspectives. And as you say, the perspectives are built, they don't come out of a vacuum. So even in a text, the students will be able to see what were the influences in this character's development that have them behave in this way. So you're quite right. It's very, very important in literacy to understand this when you're reading different things.
Yeah, for sure. And it also helps students when, you know, often you want to have a debate in the classroom and you want to help your student being able to take an argument, a side to the argument that it's not their own side. So if they develop their capability to for perspective taking, then they'll be able to better argument a topic from different angles, better debate a topic, and it will help them we develop their persuasive techniques.
Yes, I mean, one of the things about when we talk to each other is we can have a discussion, which very much is putting your point of view, or you can enter into a dialogue. And a dialogue is a much more open thing, because then you're really listening to everyone's perspective, and everyone together can come to some agreement or some decision and a better understanding. But I think you have a great example of how students in the classroom might think about these different perspectives, Ortal.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to share an easy activity any teacher can perform in the classroom to help their student develop perspective taking. But before that, I would just want to mention a beautiful quote on perspective taking by Audre Lorde. So she said, "It's not our differences that divide us. It is our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences." So it's important to think about it and see how we can help our society, how we can bring our society closer together.
Yes, and I mean, Audre Lorde is just such an amazing author, poet, rights activist, someone very reputable and wonderful to listen to.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot we can learn from her. So as to activities that teachers can do in the classroom to help the student develop perspective taking is when you look at a text, and let's look at Goldilocks as an example, because I think everyone knows this story. So you can ask your student to write this story from the different characters' point of view. So let's say, for example, one group of students can write a story from Papa Bear point of view. How would Papa Bear tell that story? And they need to think about where he's coming from. How would he think, what he cares about? And Papa Bear, for example, might be very protective over his family, right? He might see Goldilocks as a horrible criminal that broke into their home and put their life in danger. And then another group of children can write the story from Mama Bear point of view. How would Mama Bear view that? Maybe she'll feel more nurturing towards Goldilocks, but maybe she'll be upset about all the mess in the house, and now she needs to cook again food for the family. And then another group of children can write a story from a Baby Bear perspective. And they need to think, how would Baby Bear perceive that situation? Perhaps he'll be happy to have someone else to play with, someone closer to his age. So the whole idea is to let the children think about the different characters. How would this story look from their perspective? And how might they tell that story? And you can even share it with the rest of the school. I mean, your students can create a play of that story and present it at a school assembly, for example.
Yes, it's always wonderful to share that thinking. And I mean, I think that idea of telling a story from different perspectives is fabulous. But you could even in the classroom talk about sometimes putting yourself into another persona, like if you go into the garden, what does it look like from the perspective of an ant or from a bird? But it's the same sort of thing, but just getting students to put themselves in somewhere else and to view something from a different situation. It is a remarkably important skill and makes people into much deeper thinkers. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And as you mentioned, Lilian, there's a lot of imagination involved. So you really need to imagine how the other person perceives a situation and thinking about their belief system, their gender, culture, etc., where they live, and how will that impact how they view a specific situation. So it's definitely a very important skill to help children develop at home or within the classroom. And if all of us will develop that skill, I think our society will we'll be so much better. We'll be closer to each other, more tolerant, and not just tolerant other point of view, but also accept other point of view and embrace other point of view.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So if we do our quick summary, which we do, the what is that when we have different perspectives, we're able to see any situation from a variety of points of view. The why is because, as you said, it makes us not only more tolerant, but maybe even more accepting and maybe even able to embrace points of views that differ from ours, and it makes us broader and deeper thinkers. And how we do it is to offer students facilities and some little projects like in literature where they can present information like your Goldilocks story from different points of view.
Yeah, so we encourage you to run such an activity in your classroom and share with us your experience. Please write to us. To our email address is thethinkingeffectpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear how you found this experience and how your students found this exercise. And one lucky educator that's going to share their experiences with us will get my book, Think Unique, which is your comprehensive guide as to how to create an innovative environment in your classroom.
That's great. Everyone needs to read Audrey's book. It contains fabulous information, and we greatly look forward to being with you again in our next episode.
Yes, that's right. And our next episode is going to be, how can we help children develop their creative thinking? I'm so looking forward to this episode, Lilian.
A fabulous topic. All right. Well, goodbye for now.
Bye.